and then it burns really, really good. So what we're going to do now is just build that little pan, make that little pan. And the other thing that while we're at it, we're also going to make is, when you have this stove sitting here, and then you get the little bipod or tripod that goes over it, when you put a pan over it of water, something like this, you're going to want a little something that goes around it, act as a little windscreen, because a lot of times, it always seems to be windy when you're in the mountains. So you can kind of wrap this around it. It keeps the wind away, and also it keeps the heat from just going up and around and just blowing away. It keeps the heat all in the underside of this. So we can just set this aside, and I'll show you how to make the little windscreen and the little tripod in just a minute. But first, we're going to make that little cup. So what we're going to do to make that little cup is we're going to take a couple pieces of this tape, and we're going to measure a couple pieces, and you can kind of use your rough judgment on this. I'm going to say about, maybe 3.5, 4, maybe 5 inches long at the most. So we're just going to cut 4 pieces that length, roughly. And take off the adhesive backing and set this down, just like that. Oops. And then we're going to take another piece and do the same thing. Well, maybe if I can find the edge of it. There we go. And then we're just going to take this and lay it right on top of this one, but leave just a little bit of the edge exposed, the sticky edge. Just like that. Put that on there, just like that. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one, but we're going to cover up that exposed edge. It looks something like this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our little stove that we made and put right here in the middle. Now, all we need is something just a little bit bigger than this. Set it like this, and then we're going to write a circle around it, and it doesn't have to be exact, just roughly. Then what we're going to do is take our scissors and cut around that. Now we want it to be about a 1/2 inch bigger, so we're going to go a little bit big. And then the next thing we're going to do, take this, set it aside in our scrap pile. All my scraps over there. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our scissors and make some slits. About every inch or so, maybe a little bit less, 3/4 of an inch. I picked this stuff is you only need it long enough to keep something in there for just a couple of minutes while it's getting its heat. Once it gets its heat, it doesn't really need it anymore. So we're just going to kind of wrap this around like this so it makes a little bit of a bowl. Doesn't even have to be exactly like a bowl, just a little bit like a bowl. Just enough to hold the fuel while it finishes lighting. So everything kind of overlaps everything else, and it kind of makes a little bitty cup like this. And you just kind of play with it a little bit, overlap other ones, and keep going around. So it looks something like that when it's done. And this will fit inside of it. Just big enough for that. That's all we need. And then if you want, which I have done before in the past, is I'll take a small piece of tape, a thin strip, and go around the edge of that. So we'll just go ahead and do that. Just cut a thin strip that'll go around the edge of that. Something like this. Let's start it again, maybe. There we go. Now we're just going to take this and we're going to run it around the edge. And again, this does not have to be pretty. This is only just to hold the fuel. And that's pretty much all you need, just like that. Is we're going to make that windscreen since we already have the tape. And how you're going to make the windscreen is you're going to take 2 pieces of tape, and I make mine pretty long, so maybe about 16, 18 inches long, something like that. Actually, I'll just make it a little bit of a small one, because this is just for demonstration. We'll make one about this long, so about 12 inches long. Cut it there, and then we'll just measure it out so we can cut them all the same length. We're going to peel the tape off of these and stick them together so they're all overlapping. Oh, maybe. If this stuff's not like duct tape, once you get it together, it's not going to come apart. Oh, good, it's not. Okay. So we're just going to lay it down flat, roughly. Sometimes I'll even take just the corner of it and kind of fold it backward just so it'll sort of stick. Well, maybe. Sort of like that, and just kind of play with it a little bit till you get your fingers loose. And then you're going to go ahead and take another piece and get it loose. Maybe. There we go. And then this time, instead of pulling it all the way loose, I'm going to pull it part way and stop. Then I'm going to come over to this edge. We're just going to start this one right on top of the other one. And then we're just going to kind of fold it together, and it doesn't have to be exact. I know it looks real sloppy right now, but that's okay. Really doesn't matter. And then we're going to take another piece and get another piece. And we're just going to lay it down and run it out. Same thing. All the way out. Okay. Now that we got it like that, we just need to trim this thing. And they don't need to be very tall or very wide. So we're just going to take it and trim off this crude looking end here. And then we're going to trim off this crude looking end over here. Like so. Now we don't have any sticky parts except for right in here. And it only needs to be about 4, maybe 5 inches tall at the most. So we're just going to trim this so it's about 4.5, 5 inches tall. There, and there's your windscreen. And the cool thing about it is, you can take this and fold it up, and just, there's your windscreen. And when you need it, you just open it up and put it around your deal. And I usually will make 2 of them so it goes all the way around. But we'll just, for just demonstration, we're just going to make one. So it's like this. It stands up good. It lasts for years. I mean, I still got the same one I made years and years ago. So there's your windscreen. Now, the next thing we got to show you how to make is that little tripod. It's not that big a deal. That's where that coat hanger comes in. So what we're going to do with that coat hanger, my work area is getting kind of messy here. What we're going to do with that coat hanger is we are going to clip it here, up by the top, and we're going to clip it. Oh, interesting. I didn't know they made them like this anymore. I thought it went all the way through. That's okay. Adapt and overcome, right? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to straighten this thing out so it's a nice straight piece. About like that. So that little ear on the end is good because that way it'll keep it from pushing down into the turf. And then what we're going to do is about how far up you think you want, you got your stove here. This is going to be a tripod. How high up above it do you want your pot? I want mine about an inch or so above. So I'm going to bend it about right here. So we're just going to bend it straight angle over. And then this side and bend it again. There we go. And it'll take a little bit of messing with it until you get these the exact same height. And then I'm going to take this end and just bend just a little ear in this one too. Just like that is what you're looking for. Now we're going to make the same thing again out of this part. Now I'm just going to clip this one. I don't need ears on both of these, just one of them. So I'm going to take it and just clip it off about right there. Alright, now what we're going to do is fasten this whole contraption together. So that right there is what we got. So now all you need is just a little bit of that wire that we had a minute ago. We're going to start at the top and run this piece over and kind of run it down along so it won't go anywhere. And then we're just going to start wrapping. And this does not have to be pretty. This is just basically wrapping a bunch of wire around it. Nice. And I usually go a whole bunch around this part at the bottom. Just wrap it tight. And then we're going to go back up towards the top. A whole bunch in one little bitty area. And then what I usually do, take my pliers and cut it, and I usually go over and through the same piece of wire, kind of act as like a little bit of a slip knot, even though it is wire, just because I deal with rope too much, I can't help myself. Just grab a hold of it with your pliers and pull it tight. And then I usually just take this little ear and just fold it down. Okay, now you got your little tripod. And that is more than sufficient. Looks like we could bend it a little bit and just make it a little straighter. That's more than sufficient enough to put this little stove under, just like that, and then set your pot on it, just like that. So now that we got this thing all going, let's fire this baby up and see how it burns. So, first thing we're going to do is take just a tiniest little bit of fuel and put in here. It basically drops. That's more than enough. And then we're going to take this and set this in here. And we're going to put some fuel in here. And this is just a trial run, so we don't need a bunch. Maybe a little bit more than that, and maybe just a little bit trickling over the edge. Right there, and then we'll spin it around and maybe just a tiny bit right here. Not enough for it to go everywhere, just enough to kind of get all that primed. Use our lighter a little bit, and it's starting to, all the fuel down below is starting to burn off. It's burning pretty good now. And there's a lot of heat going up. When it gets to this point, I'll usually take my little rack here and put over it, and then put your pot over top of it. Now, I'll turn off this and you can see how much flames are going around this pot. I hope you have all enjoyed my video on how to make a stove out of a pop can. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel